right after he let 10-year-old boy mow WH lawn. Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced that 11-year-old Frank would be coming to the White House to cut the grass. After the then 10-year-old Frank offered to cut the grass for free, our president happily accepted his proposal. Frank's letter stated, "Unfortunately, even this good deed done by a 10-year-old can't even slide by without any criticism." For example, Gary Legum of Independent Journal Reviews claimed that Donald Trump was encouraging child labor laws. Oh please, take a look at other Twitter reactions. This is sickening. Mowing the White House lawn was this little boy's wish. Do you think liberals are pure evil? A 10-year-old boy is mowing WH lawn, gets the surprise of his life when Trump shows up. President Donald Trump receives a multitude of letters sent to the White House from children in particular. The most recent letters that our president was sent came from a boy named Pickle and from someone wanting to cut the lawn. We even got to hear one of these letters earlier in August when Sarah Huckabee Sanders read one aloud from the then 10-year-old Frank, who was offering to cut the grass for free even though he usually charges $8. The contents of the letter stated, Sanders announced that 11-year-old Frank would be coming to the White House to cut the grass. Here is a photo of the president and Frank in the Rose Garden on Friday morning. With the caption, "There is more photos of these two below. They look like they are already good friends." Breaking: Trump revokes visas to these countries for not taking back illegal immigrants. Trump has had enough. America is sending back illegal immigrants to their original homes, however, they were denied entry. Upon not being allowed back into their original homes, these illegals were then released back into the United States. Because these specific countries are refusing to acquire their citizens anymore, the State Department has been ordered by the Trump administration to limit visas to the following countries: Eritrea, Cambodia, Sierra Leone, Guinea. Elaine Duke, the acting Secretary of Homeland Security, has responded to these countries stating that their one-way street ends with these sanctions. The visas that are being revoked are ones for respective ministries of foreign affairs and temporary visas for business, as well as pleasure. The numbers below show how many illegal immigrants were released back into the United States of America after being denied entry back into their homes. Guinea, 137. Cambodia, 1,900. Sierra Leone, 831. Eritrea, 700. Those numbers are scary, right? Last year, President Donald Trump had already revoked 100,000 travel visas from multiple countries and released an executive order that stopped the immigration into America from 7 Middle Eastern countries. This is what they deserve for playing it one way. Do you support Trump's initiative? ESPN host gives people the bird instead of apologizing for calling Trump white supremacist. CNN host Jemele Hill recently called President Donald Trump a bigot and a white supremacist on social media. If you can believe that, listen to this. She flipped off everyone who disagreed with her slanderous opinions and is refusing to apologize. Instead, she addressed the elephant in the room. Was that supposed to be an apology? She obviously feels no remorse for what she did, especially when her employer is allowing her to get away with those types of hurtful comments. Twitter did not appreciate Hill's racist rant either. Take a look. Should Jemele Hill be fired from ESPN? Melania's new shoe style to visit hurricanes victims left the MSM dazed and confused. First Lady Melania Trump made headlines when she wore heels to board the Air Force One headed to Texas. Even though Melania arrived to the flood-ravaged state wearing sneakers, the media still had a field day with it. The stories have since been deleted that claim she was actually wearing the heels when she got off of Air Force One in Corpus Christi. As she arrived in Texas again on September 2, she proved that she can do whatever she wants by wearing her heels. The First Lady changed into a practical pair of shoes before passing out supplies to Hurricane Harvey victims. According to the Express. Here is what Twitter had to say. Let's see how they spin this one. Are you tired of the superficial fake media? Amazon caught red-handed deleting almost every one-star review on Hillary's new book. During the 2016 presidential election, it is rumored that Hillary Clinton had businesses working secretly to change the misconception that the public shared about her. One of these businesses that backed Clinton was Amazon tycoon Jeff Bezos, CEO and founder. He has used his company to promote her book What Happened, which details her dealing with losing the election. The British Telegraph newspaper reported that Amazon has been monitoring and deleting reviews after Hillary Clinton's new book was greeted with a torrent of criticism on the day it was released. The report continued, few of the one-star reviews remain on the website, but reports and screen grabs show that reviewers used the space to criticize the former First Lady and spread conspiracy theories about her and Bill Clinton. One one-star review, which remains on the website at the time of writing, reads, "Read all the promotional excerpts, which combined come close to book length. Pretty good novel. It is fiction, isn't it? Surely, someone is playing a joke. This is disgusting. Will you boycott Amazon?" Al Sharpton threatens ESPN to face his wrath if they fire reporter who called Trump white supremacist. Watch what happens next. Jemele Hill recently posted this to her Twitter: "Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists." The ESPN company had to apologize to everyone since not only were her comments totally inappropriate, but a great deal of people were offended and letting it be known. Sarah Huckabee Sanders made ESPN's decision to let Jemele Hill go that much easier, stating, "I think it's one of the more outrageous comments that anyone could make and certainly something I think is a fireable offense by ESPN." Later repeating herself, "I think it is a fireable offense based on the standard that ESPN has set themselves by saying that people that go too far and make political comments have been suspended from their own network. I think that is a consistency that they should probably focus on." Al Sharpton of course turned this into a race issue, even though Jemele was the one being racist in the first place. Sharpton stated that letting Hill go from ESPN would be robbing a person of their right to express their views. He also added, "If ESPN does this, they're going to face the wrath of a lot of us. Watch what happens next. He's such a racist. Should she be fired anyway?" Watch Darryl Strawberry destroy ESPN reporter who called Trump white supremacist. By this point, we're all tired of the dragged-out storyline that liberals keep telling. Recently ESPN reporter Jemele Hill attacked our president on Twitter via a rant that was no different from what the rest of liberal nation has been saying. Hill said in a post, "Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. So many of us are fed up with the continuous harassment of President Donald Trump. Especially Darryl Strawberry, 1980s New York Mets legend, who stood up for his close friend Donald Trump on Varney and Company on Fox Business News." Strawberry responded to Hill's initial comments, "I think no one should call anyone anything. President Trump, he's a great man to me. He was always gracious to me. I really love him, his family. I was on his show and he's always been kind to me. I've known him quite well and every time I've seen him and been around him he's always been so gracious with me and I'm always grateful for that." He continued, "A lot of people say things because they have their own issues and they're hurting on the inside. When you're pointing fingers at someone else, 3 are pointing back at you. I never want to sit and point fingers at someone like the President of the United States. He's got a job to do and we all need to pray for him and we all need to support him, That's what we need to do. People seem to love his response, one viewer said, Darryl Strawberry on Varney this morning. Still hitting home runs. Another viewer posted, wow. Darryl Strawberry is the man. Well said. Well said. He's the man. Plaintiff claims in God We Trust on currency violates religious freedom, gets crushed by judge. A recent case regarding the religious wording in God We Trust imprinted on the American dollar bill was shot down by the judge. The plaintiff claimed that the wording is a violation of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, while placing an obligation on a person's right to utilize religious freedom. Benita Pearson is the Ohio judge that declared the plaintiff had no official proof. Therefore, she stated the following: plaintiffs cannot demonstrate that the use of the motto on currency substantially burdens their religious exercise. Credit cards and checks allow plaintiffs to conduct the bulk of their purchases with currency not inscribed with the motto. And for cash-only transactions, such as a garage sale or a coin-operated laundromat, the use of the motto on currency does not substantially burden plaintiffs' free exercise. There are many who have already been fighting the fight against religion, such as California attorney Michael Newdow. Newdow stated, plaintiffs either specifically do not trust in any God, with not trusting God being a basic tenet of their belief systems, or hold God's name so dear and exalted that to inscribe it on a monetary instrument is deemed sinful. In complete disagreement with the plaintiff, Judge Pearson said in dispute, plaintiffs argue that cash transactions force them to bear a message that they feel violate their religious beliefs. She continued, but as the Supreme Court stated in Woolley v. Maynard, the bearer of currency is thus not required to publicly advertise the national motto. Furthermore, plaintiffs' other concerns, that they may be subject to peer pressure or ridicule, or that their children may question their beliefs, are unlike the choice between a basic benefit and a core belief described in the Supreme Court's case law. Some commenters argued about an American principle, the separation of church and state. For example, Congress shall pass no law respecting an establishment of religion. It doesn't matter if it violates free will or not. The words "In God We Trust" respects an establishment of religion. On that grounds it should be stricken from government currency. The phrase separation of church and state is a simplistic and misleading representation of the intent of the Founding Fathers. Their goal was to foster, nourish, and encourage religious belief in God, as opposed to belief in no God, because they correctly believed that people who think they will someday return and report to their Creator are much more likely to be peaceful, loving, thoughtful, forgiving, courteous, etc. than people who do not hold such a belief. History is proving the correctness of their perception. All the stats say we are becoming less and less believers in God, and they also clearly show our slow descent into rudeness, selfishness, greed and violence. Some will say there is no connection. They need to think that through very carefully. This is insane. Do you think "In God We Trust" should stay on currency? Irma gave liberals a very good reason to whine after what it did to Trump's house. All the talk about the possible damage that Hurricane Irma could have caused had many liberals posting to Twitter about their hopes that Mar-a-Lago would be destroyed by the storm. Take a look. They just sound evil. Why would anyone wish this badly on anything or anyone? To every liberal's disappointment, there was hardly any structural damage done to Mar-a-Lago, as reported by People. Neighbors mentioned that there were some uprooted trees in the driveway. Sounds like Mar-a-Lago proved all the idiots wrong. They are so pathetic. Are today's leftists whining more than ever before?